Televisión, pero vamos ya con otros asuntos, porque hoy hemos estado echando un vistazo a un informe que nos habla de cómo los países que están siguiendo el tope al petróleo ruso, realmente lo que están haciendo por detrás es comprarle ese petróleo a otros países que a su vez le han estado comprando a Rusia el petróleo que viene desde allí. Tenemos a uno de los analistas de ese informe, concretamente tenemos a Lauri Myllyvirta, que es lead analyst del Centro de Investigación en Energía y Aire Limpio. Lauri, thank you so much for being in Negocios Televisión. It's a pleasure to speak to you.
You too, thank you.
Lauri, in your report you say price cap coalition countries have increased imports of refined oil products from countries that have become the largest importers of Russian crude. You say that this is a major loophole that can undermine the impact of the sanctions on Russia. I wanted to ask you, which countries and to what extent are they, or is this eliminating the impact of the sanctions on Russia, on Russian price of the oil?
So what's happening is Russian oil is being exported to China, India, United Arab Emirates, and so on, Turkey, refined, and then quite a bit of that oil is getting exported into the European Union and Australia and the US as diesel, jet fuel, and so on. And this is currently not banned. None of the sanctions by the EU or the US or Australia ban this kind of trade, but it's obviously flying in the face of the intention when you can launder Russian oil in this way and take it to the European market.
Mm-hmm. You cited some of those countries, but which countries in total are those that are buying Russian oil and then selling it to other countries like the European Union?
The ones that we've identified as the main countries in this trade are China, India, Turkey, United Arab Emirates, and Singapore. And the largest importer of the oil products from these countries is the European Union. Spain is one of the countries within the Union that was a significant importer, importing 2.6 billion euros worth of oil products from these countries in the 12 months after Russia's invasion.
It's funny, Lauri, because among the price cap coalition countries, the largest importer of oil products from the laundromat countries that you say was the EU. Why is this? Because the EU has applied this cap on Russian oil.
Obviously, the banning of direct imports from Russia left the gap in Europe's oil supply. So there has been significant demand from the EU for oil products, and because there is this loophole, some of that resulted in indirect imports of Russian crude oil. What was especially dramatic was the increase in oil product exports from China all the way to the EU, so a very long way across the world after the ban on imports of Russian crude oil.
Lauri, do you think that this will have consequences over these countries that are not applying, obviously, but hiding, as you say, this appliance of the cap? Do you think that there will be consequences for these countries?
What's really important now is for the EU and allies to take action, and so the most natural thing to do would be to also apply the price cap on imports of these oil products from refineries that are importing Russian crude oil. And that would, of course, make it less attractive for refineries in Turkey or India to import Russian crude oil.
Lauri, and the last question, do you think that this demonstrates that the world can't live without Russian oil?
The whole point of the price cap mechanism is to allow Russian crude oil to still be exported in the short term. That's an unfortunate reality that yes, Europe and the US and so on are too dependent on oil in general, and reducing that dependency is extremely important. Right now, in the short term, what's important is to enforce the price cap and eliminate these kinds of loopholes so that we can drive down Russia's revenues from oil exports without completely stopping the supply of oil from Russia to countries like China or India.
Lauri Myllyvirta, lead analyst at Center for Research and Energy and Clean Air. Thank you so much for being in Negocios Televisión. It's a pleasure to speak to you.